That's a dick move by me, Ryan. Oh, that was a dick move, but we got to go with it.
That's Charles, but who fights Charles?
No, I understand. It's not going anywhere. It's purely for conversation, but that's a dick move by me. But it's a dick move by Gamrot. How does Gamrot not know that Manny Moicano put in for the fight? All right, guys, there's a story going around that Diego Lopes has called out Charles Oliveira. In fact, this is the headline. I clicked on it, and I just wanted to clarify this for you guys. Diego did not actually call out Charles Oliveira. Now, Diego's in a different weight class than he fought a week ago. They're both Brazilians. Diego Lopes served Charles Oliveira. He was very nice. He said, Charles Oliveira's a legend. The fight's in Brazil. I would never turn down any fight, particularly that opportunity. But that's not a call out. That's not a call out. And I felt like the headline was a little bit off. Now, within this same article, Charles did get called out. And it was by Gamrot. That's interesting to me. Gamrot is awesome. I've never been interested in a Gamrot fight. I know that sounds rude. Gamrot's awesome. I'm a wrestling fan. I followed this guy back when he was young. He ended up 5th in the European Championships, which you guys probably don't even know about. Gamrot is awesome. But he's had a hard time at times getting momentum going. In fact, the most headlines that he got actually came off of a loss to Dan Hooker because it was such a surprise that he ends up getting loose. All right. So I'm not insulting Gamrot. I'm sharing that everybody in the sport is looking for the right partner and the right opportunity. Nobody's interesting until they're interesting, and I feel like Gamrot just hit it out of the park. That is a main event. I do not know who would win that fight. That is compelling as hell. I contacted my partners over at DraftKings and said, who would you put as the favorite? They said, we don't know. They said, chill, is this even going to happen? Stories going around. So I'm just sharing with you, I don't know who would win that fight. And that in and of itself makes it interesting. Now, one day ago, I was on the train of Manny Moicano versus Charles. And I don't have any bigger job than to stir the pot. But I am forced to stir the pot because Manny Moicano called out Charles Oliveira, and that was gaining steam, including over here at Bad Guy Inc. A day later, it gets revealed that Gamrot has called out Charles, which, by the way, is very, very interesting. Gamrot and Moicano are teammates. And I've seen this before. I saw this before, and it never ends well. I saw this before. Matt Lindland was ranked #1 in the world. Nate Quarry was given the world title fight. Now, Nate was undefeated in the UFC. He'd come through the Ultimate Fighter. He'd been at this for 20 years, and it was his dream. He absolutely should have taken the title fight, which he did. But I can just tell you, there was something in the room, and I can't go any further than that. They never said anything to each other, but there was something in the room. And what happens in that kind of a situation? What happens? I want to see Gamrot fight Charles. And I want to see him fight for 5 rounds. And that changes everything. That changes Charles's chances in that fight immensely, as I see it. I want to see Manny Moicano do anything he wants to do. If Manny Moicano makes a video, makes a walk, goes to a press conference, whatever he does, I'm in. And the idea that he could return to a main event specifically against Charles and be tested in such a way with the 5 rounds is very, very interesting. But on accident, the most interesting fight to come out of this whole story is now Gamrot versus Manny Moicano. Now, these guys are teammates. I don't want to get in their way, and neither, much like Nate Quarry and Matt Lindland, nobody did anything wrong. Matt couldn't change the fact that he was ranked #1, and Nate could not change the fact that it was his phone that rang. of the threesome here, on accident, if I could choose, if I could match up anybody and I had the power, I wouldn't be putting Gamrot against Charles, though I love it. And I wouldn't put Money Moicano against Charles, though I love it. Of that round robin, I'd put Money Moicano against Gamrot.